my name's Brad Rathbun. My story, I grew up in a Christian home. I can remember as a young child going to church, going to Sunday school when my parents went to the service. And then as I grew older, I'd attend service with them. And I can remember one year, probably early teens, I had asked my mom and dad for a Bible for a Christmas present, and which they were happy to get me. So I was always intrigued and I was always interested in reading the Bible. The problem was I wasn't living what I was reading. And as I aged, and got into high school, I got exposed to pornography and alcohol, um, and just some of the things of the world in which I just continued to feed. As I went off to college, I kind of abandoned the church and the Bible. Just again was just living for the world. The alcoholism got worse. Not so much the pornography at that time, but I guess I could be classified in my college years and military years. I probably could be considered an alcoholic. And about midway through my military career, I got married to Barbara. We moved all over the country, and again, along with the alcoholism, pornography started to become more and more a part of my life until it eventually worked itself into a full blown addiction. I guess the turning point was when Barb finally decided she had had enough. I was a very selfish person, really consumed with just what I wanted and not concerned about my family. I was a great provider, and I thought that, well, as long as I provide for them and take care of them, that's all I really needed to do. The rest of the time was for me. I would spend a lot of time at the club on Friday night and on the weekends, spend it with the guys and not with my family. Barb was, towards the end of my military career, she was really getting fed up with it. And she basically said, you need to change or I'm out of here. So that was kind of an early wake up call. And it changed my behavior for a bit. Fortunately, though, I left the Air Force, which I think that was a God thing. Um, as I was in the military, I started getting back into church and back into the Bible a little bit. But, um, again, it was just, I was talking the talk. I wasn't walking the walk. And James 1:22 comes to mind. It says, don't merely listen to the word and so deceive yourself, do what it says. Well, I was deceived because, like I said, I was reading a lot, but I wasn't living it. But then I think God had a plan for me. Once I got out of the military, I got hired on with Delta Airlines and was based here in Cincinnati. Um, and again, I think that was all God's plan because I started attending First Church and with L.D. Campbell. Rick Schonkweiler happened to be the adult and men's minister there. And they had a program one weekend. It was called Every Man's Battle. And Barb had encouraged me to go to that. So I went. And it strictly dealt with lust and pornography issues. And that was a real turning point for me. I got in a room with about 300 guys, and I finally realized that I was not the only person or so-called Christian that struggled with pornography and lust issues. And I got talking with several guys there, and it really, that I could see that, I'm not alone in this battle, and I could talk about it, and that really started lifting a weight off my shoulders, and really was a turning point in my life. Because I came out of that conference and I immediately walked up to Rick Schonkweiler, who again was the men's pastor down at First Church, and I said, I need to get in a small group of guys. And he said he just happened to have a place for me. So, I went in there and Rick mentored me for probably 3 or 4 years. Probably a little bit longer than that, but I was in his group for a couple of years, and he finally just said, okay, you move on, you start your own group. And again, this was the part where I really felt that my relationship with God had taken a change. With getting in with men and sharing just my failures, my struggles, and it really, it wasn't a quick change. It was a long process for me. Through that, my whole life started to change. I started, I still struggled with pornography and alcohol. It was still there, but it was it was getting less and less all the time. But through all that, I just started reading the Word and really trying to live what the Word was saying, and just staying engaged with men really helped. And had not I not come to Cincinnati, or got out of the military, I would have been without a family. I'd have lost Barb and the kids. And so God was really at work. And I think all through my life He never walked away from me. He was always there, and there was always just some part that He was tugging at me. But there were so many times that I just would turn Him off because I wanted to live for the world. But I look, one of my verses that I turn to now is what Paul wrote in 2 Corinthians. I believe it's 9 verse 12, and I may be wrong, but it's when Paul was talking about his thorn in the flesh. And he had asked God to take it away from him, and God told him, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in your weakness. And that's the thing that I turn to, because those, pornography and alcohol, they're still there. There's still that draw. But I turn to that verse, and I just take it to Him. And, He's helped me have victory over that. And the selfishness, all these things are still there. There's still draws in my life. They still tug at me. But through Jesus and what I've learned about Him and His grace, it helps me. And just trying to serve Him, to walk with Him, like back to James 1:22, be a doer of the word, not just a hearer of the word. And it's made a tremendous difference in my life of really just loving Jesus and trying to pay Him back for what He's done for me. And that has just made a tremendous difference in my life. And Barbara and I are doing great now. Could I do better? Absolutely. But that's a goal. I wake up every day is to first and foremost spend time with God and His Word, and then just try to live that day for Him. And if I can do that, then it's a great day. But like I say, mine has been a long process. It's not like like Paul's conversion, where he's walking along the Damascus Road and he has that encounter and it changes him immediately. Mine's just been a slow growth process, but God's with me all the way. And have I stumbled and fall? Yeah, I have. But you get back up, you dust yourself off, and that's what grace is all about. Is just turning away and starting afresh. And it's just so grateful that we have a God that will forgive us and give us second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh chances. So I'm just grateful to Him. I'm grateful to Harold, because he's helped me grow even closer just through his friendship and through his teachings. It just helps me grow each and every day. And I just encourage anyone that doesn't have a relationship with Jesus to do that. This doesn't mean that everything in your life is going to be great. He tells us we're going to have struggles, but He's always there to walk us through it. And I'm living proof of that He won't turn your back. I read the story of the prodigal son, and I just see myself in that when I decided to come back to Him, He was always there, and He came running to me. So I just thank you for your time. And again, I just hope that through this, that some of you can, come to accept Christ as your Lord and Savior. Thank you.